My brothers and sisters, we continue inshallah what we started 2 weeks ago, and today inshallah we will finish that topic. And the topic is what's called Ghaflah, or mindlessness, or the lack of awareness. You might call it whatever you want, or being oblivious to the signs and the blessings and the existence and all the messages that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent to us, and all the purposes of life, or kind of like the tweaks that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to us to our lives. So let's start inshallah and connect all of them together to finish the topic today. Last Jum'ah and the Jum'ah before, we discussed the idea of what Ghaflah is. And then we moved on to talk about the dangers of ghafla, or lack of awareness. What are the dangers when we are living in loss? And then we moved after this, what are the reasons that leads any one of us, that might lead any one of us to that type of ghafla, or that state of mind when the mind is not existing. So as we mentioned before, one of the ulama discussed the definition of ghafla by saying that the existence of the things that might remind you of your own purpose of life are there, but you're being oblivious to them. It's not about that they are not there. So it's there that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with many blessings in our lives. It's there and it's not deniable at all that we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with tons of blessings each and every second that pass while we are alive. Each and every second that pass, we are walking, we are talking, we are communicating with people, we are seeing things, we are hearing things, we are breathing. And after this, we talked about the reasons that might lead a person to ghafla, and we said, first is the attachment to something that's not persistence or beneficial to you. The attachment to something that's not actually helping you in your own purpose of life and your own mission in life. And then also we talked about the circles, and then we moved on to talk about the dangers, and we said one of the most scary dangers of ghafla is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yakhtimu ala al-qulub, seal the hearts, until the hearts are completely oblivious and indifferent to any signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. And then we moved as well to talk about the signs of ghafla, the signs that if I see myself, and then we said before, that's something we call it indivisible disease, invisible disease. That it is a disease that's not really easy to spot, especially if you are indulged, or if you are deep in something that makes you completely lost. If you are deep from your seek or pursuit of money, if you are in deep of your pursuit of like kind of like positions, or if you are deep in pursuit of banoon, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Kahf, al-mal wal-banun zinatu al-hayat al-dunya wal-baqiyat al-salihat khayr. And what's left after this, it's bitter for you. And also we talked about one of the signs of ghafla is the love or the comfort that we find in ourselves when we do ma'asiyah. That's a sign that actually it's a scary sign for any one of us who might be involved in any ma'asi, being in love with ma'asi, not be able to stop, or even challenge him or herself. That's a sign that you're going to ghafla, or you're in the process of ghafla. Also, we talked about being obsessed by something that doesn't have a value, or the value of that thing is being given more than it's worth. The value of something, because our lives has many priorities. And in each time we have certain priorities over others. If we give something that doesn't deserve all of the efforts exerted in that thing, that means I'm actually wasting my time. Also, we discussed the idea of takassul, being lazy in doing goodness, being lazy in doing or performing the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, takassul ala ta'at, rituals, being lazy to help out, being lazy to support, being lazy to challenge myself, being lazy to see life as it is, being lazy of correcting myself. I've seen in my own life that people actually have really good mentalities and all of that, but they are really occupying themselves by something that's not really worth the time. And they have been completely not even to want to think about things that actually will fix their own lives, will actually make their lives better. Also, we discussed not being kind of like that, having that type of intimate relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or not willing to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Adam al-Ishtiyaq, not willing to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not willing even to think about Jannah or Nar or death or all of these factual events that will happen in our lives. And then we finish by istisghar al-dhunub, overlooking the mistakes. Inshallah, today we will offer some suggestions that might help us to get over the ghaflah. As we said before, that's an invisible disease. And that disease has symptoms, as we mentioned before, like overlooking ma'asi or doing all of these type of things that actually will create more in-depth loss, being kind of like going in different phases. But I forgot last Jum'ah to talk about something really important. Ghaflah has types, my brothers and sisters. Has phases. There's ghaflah mu'aqqata, like one-time thing, or not repeated that much. And ghaflah da'imah, repeated loss. And ghaflah tamma. Let's uncover the Quran and see what the Quran says about this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talked about the believers, the people who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, righteous, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا. The believers or the righteous people, when they are actually being hit or being whispered by shaitan, by Satan, or by the love of their lives, or by kind of like nafs, but it did something to them, tadakkaru right away. They reminded themselves right away. And all of us are subject to ma'asi. All of us are subject to mistakes. And no one is perfect, except the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he is the example that we go to. But all of us here, to know how, as we mentioned before, the distance between your heart and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not waist measured, it's not distance measured, it's more about heart and sincerity and the livelihood of your own heart measured. So, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا إِذَا مَسَّهُمْ طَائِفٌ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ تَذَكَّرُوا. They're being waken up. It's exactly when I do ma'asiyah, and then at the same time, I'm blaming myself. And this is why there's a power of shame. We always stay away and think of shame as a negative thing. No, shame sometimes can be really positive and corrective feeling. To be ashamed of something. Because it reminds you of your own flaws. It reminds us of our own mistakes when we are ashamed of things. So that's ghaflah mu'aqqata. Also we have ghaflah tamma. Look at the phases. So one, that's how it starts. And then if I keep repeating it, comes the repeated loss. And that's far worse. Because it's easy for the first one to be reminded. The second one is a little bit difficult. The third one, ghaflah tamma, complete loss. That's what the ayah we mentioned before. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ ذَرَعْنَا لِجَهَنَّمَ كَثِيرٌ مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ. When you have hearts, but they're not functioning. لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا وَلَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ. They have eyes, but they don't have the sights behind it. And لَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْغَافِلُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, and that's also, there's another warning ayah, سَأَصْرِفُ عَنْ آيَاتِ الَّذِينَ يَتَكَبَّرُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ وَإِنْ يَرَوْا كُلَّ آيَةٍ لَا يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَا وَإِنْ يَرَوْا سَبِيلَ الرُّشْدِ لَا يَتَّخِذُوهُ سَبِيلًا وَإِنْ يَرَوْا سَبِيلَ الْغَيِّ يَتَّخِذُوهُ سَبِيلًا ذلك بأنهم كذبوا بآياتنا وكانوا عنها غافلين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in that ayah, I will avoid the reminders. Look at the Ghaflah Tama here, and that's the worst. سَأَصْرِفُ عَنْ آيَاتِ I will not give you. Because as we said before, the worst thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might put us in is when He leaves us to ourselves. And that's not the action, that's the reaction to our deeds. بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ That's the reaction to our own deeds that we got or we choose for ourselves. سَأَصْرِفُ عَنْ آيَاتِ الَّذِينَ يَتَكَبَّرُونَ The first thing that makes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves us to our own self is takabbur, arrogance. يَتَكَبَّرُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ Without any justice. We might be prideful. We need to be prideful of our faith. We need to be prideful of our identity. But that's not the takabbur, that's not the negative one. The negative one is when you are arrogant because you are attached or you are given or you are blessed by things that are not actually yours. Do you remember Qarun? قال إنما أوتيته على علم عندي. He was arrogant because of the money and the wealth that he was given. But that's not his. That's not his. إن الذين سأصرف عن آيات الذين يتكبرون في الأرض بغير الحق وإن يروا. Look at the consequences. وإن يروا كل آية. When they see all the signs, لا يؤمنون بها. They don't believe in them. When they see a sign of breath, like inhaling and exhaling now, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing that no one, nothing can pay for it. How much you can pay for your life? And if we get sick, how much we are willing to pay? And how much you are willing to pay for like a sip of water at the time of when you are super thirsty. When you are they're not believing in this. They're not even thinking that that's an ayah or a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When يَرَوْا سَبِيلَ الرُّشْدِ When they see the path to guidance or righteousness, لَا يَتَّخِذُوهُ سَبِيلًا That's not our way. How can I be in that state or that path with these people when I put a bunch of restrictions to myself? I'm free. I can do whatever I want. When يَرَوْا سَبِيلَ الْغَيِّ Once they see the path of stray or the path of deviation, يَتَّخِذُوهُ سَبِيلًا Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also told us in the Quran, وَأَنذِرْهُمْ يَوْمَ الْحَسْرَةِ إِذْ قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ وَهُمْ فِي غَفْلَةٍ وَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ Warn them of the signs. Because warn them of these things, because actually that's the fact that's happening to you. So my brothers and sisters, we talked about this. What are the suggestions then? So these are the types of ghafla. And just to add something as well, we mentioned before that ghafla is mentioned in the Quran, or lack of awareness. That word, the word ghafla, or the word means mindlessness or heedlessness or being oblivious to your own purpose in life, is mentioned 35 times in 21 ayahs. Actually, there are 2 of them are positive. Look, because we always see that word as a negative. 2 ayat in the Quran talking about being oblivious is positive. Let's discuss the first one. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Mu'minun, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ الْمُحْصِنَاتِ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ الْغَافِلَاتِ Those who spread rumors and accuse falsely the female believers, the oblivious. What they are oblivious about? They are oblivious about even thinking of fahisha, of immorality. So those people are actually accusing those believers that they don't even think. They're completely lacking any mindlessness of even thinking of fahisha. They're not even, that's a praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to those female believers. This is why the consequences of the punishment for those spread rumors. Like I've seen that girl with that boy, or I've seen that girl walking next to the door of that person. Like these kind of spread rumors, it's easy for us to spread them. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described anyone who says that, or accuse anyone falsely. For this, لُعِنُوا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. They are cursed in this life and in the hereafter. For what? For spreading a word about someone you are not sure if what you're saying is correct or not. And that's one of the diseases, inshallah, we'll discuss before, is about rumors. Spreading rumors, one of the invisible diseases that's common among humans. We like to gossip. And also the second ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised being in Ghaflah, وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةَ عَلَى حِينِ غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. When the Prophet Musa alayhi salam fled Egypt, and he went to Madian, north of like now it's like Jordan or something, he arrived the city على حين غفلة, when the people were sleeping, in the qaylula, like the nap, taking a nap. And that's one of the sunnah that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to do. So anyway, so these are the things that we discussed last the Jum'ahs before, and the reason I'm repeating them over and over again, because I need you to connect everything together, or if we have someone coming today for the first time, so they know what we're talking about. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله العظيم من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، إنه من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ولن تجد له وليا مرشدا. أما بعد. My brothers and sisters, as we said before, it's a disease, and it starts easy. You can easy to combat or to get over it or overcome the disease, and then in different phases gets worse. As we said, types or phases of ghafla. The same thing goes with the medicine or the prescription that we need for that disease. So I will offer things for myself and for everyone, and then take what fits your own personality. All of them, inshallah, might fit all of our personality. One of the solutions for this, one of the medicine prescriptions is ilm, knowledge. Have knowledge. Have knowledge in your own personality. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was really smart to spot each and every person that comes to him and his own personality. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he entered Mecca, Al-Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told him, Abu Sufyan, the leader, the patriarchs of Mecca, he is a person of pride. Give him something that will benefit, or that feeds up something in his personality, because that will benefit us when we get it. And this is why he told them, whoever comes to the house of Abi Sufyan, فَهُوَ آمِنٌ, is safe. So, knowledge. Second, ذِكْرَ اللَّهِ كَثِيرًا. Reminding yourself of the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Always mention the name of Allah. Say, La ilaha illallah, astaghfirullah, alhamdulillah, subhanallah. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين اللهم إنا نعوذ بك أن نشرك بك شيئا نعلمه ونستغفرك لما نعلم. Remind yourself always of many dhikr or reminders of your own purpose and your own existence and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence, because as we said, that's a disease of loss, being oblivious, being mindlessness. The opposite of it, or creating a state of being mindful of your own purpose, and that comes through the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, if you have people like they read the Quran after Fajr, or they say the adhkar, attend to these things. That reminds you. Attend like events that reminds you of the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's number 3. Number 4, as-salah, as-salah, as-salah forever. Prayers. Prayer. That's a really important and significant thing that reminds us of our purpose of life. 5 times a day. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us, رَأَيْتُ لَوْ أَنَّ بِبَابِ أَحَدِكُمْ نَهْرًا. There's a stream or a river right in front of the front door of your houses, where you take a shower 5 days a day. 5 days a day. Is anything is going to be, any filth or dirt is going to be attached to you? Of course not. وَكَذَلِكَ الصَّلَاةِ. The same is salah. Takes out the filth that we execute, or take out the dirt that we put in our hearts. As-salah, as-salah, as-salah. Number 5, at-tawbah, repentance. Tawbah, one of the beautiful meanings behind the word tawbah, or repentance. And we had a Jum'ah like a long time ago about what repentance is to return, is to redirect myself, is to recenter myself. And that's always a reminder for this. Number 6, as-sadaqah, especially the voluntary charity. As-sadaqah. Charity, my brothers and sisters, remind you that this money is not always mine. وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, those like praising the righteous people, the believers, those who have assigned money in their own money for those who are in need and those who ask for it. لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. And sa'il, those who are asked for it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't describe them as poor, no, those who ask for it. Like even don't bother if that person deserves this sadaqah or not. Try to give, because giving tells you that actually I'm not just to take. It's kind of like counterparts, or like opposes the idea of selfishness. When I give, that means that I'm kills some parts of my selfishness. Also, siyam, fasting, voluntary fasting. I'm talking now here about the voluntary ones, the sunnah. I'm not talking about fard. Fard, it's something, you put it aside, you really have to do it. But sunnah, my brothers, when I fast, especially in these days, what's the length of the daylight? 11 hours. 11 hours. Like if I fast every Monday and Thursday, what's wrong with this? You just wake up, like I've been trying this, alhamdulillah, for like the last two months. It's really easy and it's really beautiful and just makes you light and makes you happy and clears out your mind and remind you of your purpose. Because if I'm fasting and I'm doing something wrong, Allahumma inni sa'im. If I'm fasting and I'm thinking of doing something wrong, Allahumma inni sa'im. All of these things, even if I did it, I'm ashamed of doing it. How come I fast? We'll come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do this. Fasting. At-taqwa. Muraqabah. Muraqabah is one of the beautiful meanings. Muraqabah means like to be, like to observe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your life. As the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and that's the highest level of ihsan, or the highest level of believing, al-ihsan, and ta'abud Allah, to worship Allah as if you see Him, you watch Him. If you don't see Him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watches you. And number 9, az-zuhd. Like, az-zuhd, as the ulama, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal mentioned that, he said when you're rich and you have money, but it doesn't make difference for your life if you lose them or you keep them. It's not about like being completely, and that's one of the things that I think is a disease for some of our brothers. They say, I'm a Muslim, I'm zahid, I don't want to think of life anymore, I'm going to be homeless. No, that's not the zuhd that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam talked about. Of course not. That's a toxic disease you have in your mind. It's a problem with your thinking. That's a corruption in your thought. Zuhd is to work your life and work very hard and look for positions and look for life and look for all of this in your hand. Don't get it inside. Just look for it in your hands. How to use it. I'm using my position for the service of people. I'm using my money to feed my family. This is why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam وَاللُّقْمَ فِي فَيِّ, like to put a small piece of food in the mouth of your wife is a sadaqah. How can you get this luqma? You have to work to get this luqma, to get this money, to get this food. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أفضل الصدقة, the best sadaqah you can give is to spend in your family. So, الزهد. And number 10, and that's one of the things that we, in this our materialized world, we do want to think about. Maut, death. Death centers our lives. Death tells us like how we are not staying here forever. So that's actually one of the scary things that we didn't think about. But actually death, my brothers and sisters, it just like tells you who we are. We are humans. We're just living here for a period of time and done. And we don't even know how long is this period. So ذكر الموت, Nabi Sallallahu told us, أكثروا, plenty of times, remind us of plenty of times, من ذكر حادم اللذات, from the thing that actually lets down or breaks down the desires. Why? Because it reminds you of who you are. It reminds us of who we are. It reminds us that no matter how much strength I have, all of this has phases. It's going down. It's going down until it's completely useless. And last but not least, my brothers, al-istighfar, asking for forgiveness. Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim said one time, he said, if you have, what would you do? If you have a dirty cloth, would you wash your clothes first or put perfume in your dirty clothes? You would wash them first to clean the texture. The same is us. We have a lot of dirt in ourselves, and we need to clean it first before we put perfume in our bodies. And we end up with one of the abiyat, one of the poem lines. He said, يا من عصيت الله يوما غافلا أنسيت أن الله قد أعطاك نعما عليك كثيرة لو صمتها فأطعت خالقك الذي رباك. Or the person who goes or deviates from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, did you forget the blessings of Allah? Plenty of blessings. If you preserve them, you would obey the one who gave them to you.